Hello YouTube, my name is Tristan, welcome back to L Space, and it's been a little bit. As I mentioned last time, I think I uploaded a video, I get very unaware of the passage of time during the winter time and the dark months of the year, and that is certainly what's happening right now. I realized that for the longest time, well, when we still had the sunlight, I was uploading once a week, and that was great. And I actually was uploading twice a week for a long time. And I think that once a week was a more sustainable schedule for me with everything else that's going on in my life. And then the sun disappeared, and all of a sudden I look back and I'm like, oh, it's been 2 weeks or longer since I've uploaded a video, and here I am. I'm just going to give myself patience and grace about it. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm hoping to get back on a once a week schedule sometime soon, but the short days really do stuff with me. Okay, but I am going to do a quick little weekly wrap up, just sort of like an update of reading, I guess, for everything that I've read and been reading for the last week or so. So the first one, I don't have the book with me anymore because I borrowed it from the library, and that was The Martian by Andy Weir. And I enjoyed it for the most part. I think that it was pretty engaging. It was decently paced, and I think that the suspense and the action in the book were really well put together. I liked the shifting perspectives between Mark on Mars and then the crew and everybody else on Earth, and the fact that, and just like the struggle of communication or lack thereof, really, between the two. And it was overall very enjoyable, for the most part. I think the parts that I struggled with the most with the book were the math, and the science, the physics, the story problems. Those were a little, I guess, cumbersome to get through. It felt like I was wading through a algebra textbook to get to the plot. But I also understand that that's something that Andy Weir is very into, and that's something that he's very passionate about, and so it's a fun way for him to engage with it. And if it is that kind of thing that you're into as well, it's a very poorly phrased sentence, but if that is what you are into as well, then I think that it's cool. And it is cool that he's like showing his work and all of that. And I really did like Project Hail Mary. I think that between the two, Project Hail Mary was a lot better, because it had less math. It was much more, I think, approachable to the layperson, the person who is not scientifically inclined, such as myself. And yeah, I liked both. I think I liked the protagonist of Project Hail Mary a little better. The Martian, I felt like Mark was a little annoying at some points, but he was a very well crafted and a well presented character. Like he jumped off the page, and I think that despite the fact that I did not care for him as a character does not mean that he was a bad character. I think that the way that Andy Weir crafted him and like brought him to life, expert level. So that was fun. So I also finished an audiobook that I've been working on probably a couple months now, just because of the way that it's been, loans at the library. It's long, so it's been hard to get through in just like a single 2-week stint when I have the loan ready, and it's also a pretty popular book. So the wait to get it again is also quite long, and it is none other than The Sea by Iris Murdoch. which is one of the winners of the Booker Prize, and I think this was back when it was the Man Booker Prize that she won. And man, let me tell you, that book is just something else. Like, what a meticulously described and realized satire on toxic masculinity. Just hilarious from page one to the end. Like, it's one of those ones that it is a 500-page slow train wreck from beginning to end, and you cannot help but sit on the sideline and watch it happen for weeks at a time. um, just I I'm in awe of that book, and there are so many interesting themes going on in it, while at the same time remaining such an absurdly, painfully, darkly funny book that I just like, ugh, it's really good. Um, Charles Araby, just an awful human being, so delusional and hilarious to watch just decompose throughout the entire narrative. And oh my god, I don't know where I first heard of the book, but anyway, it like came onto my radar at one point, and I just really was intrigued by it. And oh man, was it worth it? It took me several months to get through the audiobook, and I finally finished it last week. But oh my goodness, it was top tier. I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads, and I just loved it. Like, so good. Um, it's a slow paced story. It's definitely one that you're just gonna have to sit with for a while. It's not one that you should read if you like a lot of plot. Um, you certainly shouldn't read it if you want a happy ending or just like a happy book, or if you like likable protagonists. Everyone around Charles Araby is very likable, very lovely people. And then there's him, the central protagonist, the narrator, of course, has to be told in the first person. He's just awful, but you really, really love to hate him throughout the entire book, and just like, he is such a good character again. It's funny because Mark Watney from The Martian is supposed to be a likable character. Charles Araby is supposed to be a loathsome character, and I like this one better. What does that say about me? Let's not read too much into it. But anyway, that is the Sea by Iris Murdoch, and boy, oof, can I recommend that one highly. um, okay, so next is another book that I finished, and that is Paris-Besson. Paris-Briancon by Philippe Besson. And this one really surprised me. Philippe Besson is, I think I can safely say, my favorite French author at this point. He wrote Lie With Me, or Arrête avec tes mensonges, if you use the French title. And this one is sort of billed like an Agatha Christie novel. It even says that, like, on one of the... Yeah, it says that right here, is that it's similar to Murder on the Orient Express, because this takes place on a train, and on the back it says that on an overnight train from Paris to Briançon, there are a cast of characters that at the end of the book, some of them will have died. And you don't know which ones are going to die. You don't know how they're going to die. You don't know if it's going to be a murder. You don't know if it's going to be an explosion, a terrorist attack, a sudden onset of Ebola that is super aggressive and kills everybody. You don't know what it's going to be. And then when the event happens and things start going bad really fast, you don't expect it. And I think the characters that do die are a little predictable, which ones that do end up dying. But at the same time, you still don't want them to. Like, you still have hope that they will survive. And the thing that's really remarkable, and Besson, and this is why Besson is one of my favorite writers, is that this book is 199 pages. It is not even 200 pages. You could consider this a novella. But each character is so well crafted and so lively and has so much depth that you really do have a clear idea of who each person is. And there's no, like, you don't really get that much time with any of them to, I mean, like, it's weird because you still form an attachment with them. And I think that Besson does a really good job in this one in particular, and he's just, like, great at character studies in general, and, like, just really vivid and good characters. But the suspense and the just, like, looming sense of dread, like, he does not let you forget that something terrible is going to happen to these people, and yet he still does such a good job of making you like them nonetheless. And then, of course, you know, he takes the rug out from under you when disaster strikes and things start going very bad for everyone. But yeah, I just loved this book, and I think that it's fantastic. I rated this one 5 stars too. What can I say? But yeah, that just, like, and it went by so fast too. The chapters are so short. I don't know how he does it with such a short amount of pages, that he just did such a good book. But anyway, yeah, I love Philippe Besson. I think he's such a phenomenal writer, and I hope that one gets translated into English so that everyone can read it, because I think that I am in a minority of English-speaking booktubers who reads French books. So hopefully that one gets translated, because I think it's one of his newer ones, and I think after the success of Lie With Me, we might see more of Besson's work translated into English. So keep your fingers crossed. And last but not least is one of the book club picks. Oh, I say last, but it's really not last, because I'm in the middle of 2 books. Okay, so I have my real life book club, and then I have the book club that I'm a part of with Eric Servini's Very Gay Book Club through allstora.com. This is not sponsored. But anyway, my real life book club, we are reading, we couldn't decide on which single book we were going to read. So we were like, let's pick the priority read, and then we'll have the other 2 be like bonus reads. So the priority read is Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. The secondary reads are Black Friend by Ziwe and Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, because it's the holidays. We are in cozy season. Howl's Moving Castle is a great book for this time of year. I've already read it. I was planning on rereading it anyway, and I kind of just wanted to make that group of people read it, because they love the movie, and they've seen the movie. They've seen a lot of Studio Ghibli movies, but they've not read the book of Howl's Moving Castle, and they're so different, and I will definitely talk about that when I'm reading it. Yeah, so I got them to read it. I got them to pick it, and I'm just very happy that they did, because it's good. Everybody should read it, especially if you like Studio Ghibli. Even if you don't, you should read it, because it's really great. So anyway, Housewarming Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Go check it out. It's like, and the paperbacks are less than $10, so it's very easy to get. It's very, very cheap. So anyway, but yeah, Trick Mirror, I'm working my way through. I am losing. Am I holding this upside down? No, I'm not. You can see why I would think that. I am over 100 pages in, and I'm on, I guess this is the third. No, this is the fourth essay in here, and I'm really enjoying it. These are all things that I think I already was aware of, but seeing them articulated in such a intelligent way just is, I guess, vindicating, but also terrifying. Just, we spend too much time on social media. That is the takeaway that I think we can get from this one. And yeah, I think also with some of my academic pursuits, the conversation that she has about like performativity and stuff like that is very applicable and interesting to me. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think that her writing is quite engaging, and it's darkly funny as well. More thoughts to come when I finish it, which will definitely be probably this week, because it's going by quick. I started it, I think, yesterday or the day before, and I'm already about halfway through. The last book, this is last for real, is Our Evenings by Alan Hollinghurst. And this is the book club pick for Eric Servini's Very Gay Book Club, and this is another pretty big book. I am listening to this on Spotify's audiobooks because, again, I justified the nearly criminal treatment of its audiobook production by the fact that I purchased the book through the book club, because you still pay full price. But anyway, this is just a lovely story. It's a coming of age story of a mixed race boy. His father is Burmese, his mother is English, and he comes of age in the early 1900s, and no, actually he doesn't. What is the actual dates that he comes of age? I feel like it's more contemporary than that. Yeah, it's the 1960s. Okay, cool. So the 1900s and 1960, he comes of age throughout that time, and yeah, it's just a lovely story. I mean, like, it's not lovely because he's coming of age and realizing he's queer, the main character, and yeah, it's the reason why I say it's lovely is because it is so atmospheric, and it's meticulous without being redundant or boring. The amount of detail is, and just like the amount of time that you do get to spend with the narrator and the people around him is just really good. Like, it's well written, it's engaging, and it's a very complete look at this boy's life. Yeah, and just like, this is a very, I guess this feels kind of like a very typical British coming of age novel. And yeah, I don't know quite what else to say about it. I think that it's just one that you should read. It's just really lovely. I think, without having actually read Ian McEwan, I could maybe say that this book is comparable to Ian McEwan. I know a decent amount about Ian McEwan's writing to know that this might be fairly comparable. It does also remind me a fair amount of E.M. Forster, not in any way of like the actual style of writing, but certainly the content and I think the tone of the book. It's very, very similar to E.M. Forster in that respect. But the actual writing, of course, is very different. It's much more contemporary. Um, and yeah, the Our Evenings part, I've just gotten to the part where that comes from, and it's very interesting. It's very good. Yeah, very much enjoying this one. I think this one, oh gosh, how many books have I read through this book club now? I think this is number 5. This is certainly the top tier. This is my favorite one that I've read for this book club, and it's probably because this is a little bit more in line with what my preference for books. I guess I just really like British literature, British and Irish literature. That's just kind of my thing, and I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, this is just a lovely book, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. I think I'm about a third to maybe 2/5 of the way through, and not quite halfway, but certainly very much enjoying it. And I think it recently came out, so it's definitely worth picking up. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for sticking around and being patient with me as I try to navigate this thing that is time in the world of darkness. I, again, hope that I can get a little bit back on a more regular uploading schedule, but no promises. Because I think, the intention is there, and then reality hits, and then just, anyway. Again, I'm going to be patient with myself and understand that I have certain limitations, and that happens. I am also, I guess, also reasonably, I am going to be applying for PhD programs in 2 weeks, which is frightening. So I am also working on that as the time goes on. So I may also be distracted with that, and I think that some of that is what is distracting me, is I have just been a little bit weighed down, and my attention is elsewhere with arguably a little bit more important things. But I do miss this engagement with people and books and everything, so I am hoping to kind of come back to it. But anyway, I'll maybe talk more about my PhD interests at some point once I submit the applications. But yeah, thank you once again for watching. I will hopefully see you again soon. No promises, but I think ideally in another week I should be able to get another video out. But yeah, until then, take care. Bye.